Hi, this is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle. Today's going to be a learning experience. We're going to take a reel apart here to see what makes the reel tick. This is a vintage reel that, quite honestly, well, it confused me the first time I saw it. When I looked at it very quickly, I thought I was looking at a Penn 112, Penn Senator, the 3.0 version of the reel. It's got burgundy side plates on it. It's got a torpedo handle like a Penn. And, well, just kind of looked that way. And then as I looked a little bit closer, I said, that doesn't look quite right. And when I looked underneath, it said, well, it's the Sea Wolf by Bronson Reel Company out of Bronson, Michigan. Well, I've seen Bronson reels before, but I have not seen the Sea Wolf. It's an interesting one. I'm kind of curious. I'm going to go do some homework on that one. But I thought what we would do today is learn from this one. This was picked up at a garage sale, and look at this. It spins beautifully. It doesn't seem to have any issues in terms of cranking. It just has a lot of cosmetic issues. And when I talked to the fellow who was selling the reel, he told me a story that was kind of interesting. He said that he had a boat, not because he wanted a boat, but because basically he took a boat in lieu of debt. Go figure that one out, right? And went out sailing, got trapped in some storms, and decided, well, boating wasn't for him. And he gave the boat away. And these two poles were on the boat some time ago, and they've just been languishing in a shed for quite some time. So we're going to just take this apart. I'm very curious to see the inside mechanism of this reel. I thought you would be curious with it too. So let's go ahead and do that and learn from this reel. And interestingly enough, I guess if we want to take the time to clean it, we're not going to do that today. But if we wanted to take the time to clean the reel and put it on a pole, I'm quite sure it could probably go catch some fish tomorrow. But look at this rod and reel cleaner. This is telling you what the effect is of just storing something in a shed for a while. That's all kind of dirt and dust and debris, and actually it cleans it pretty nicely. This is a reel probably made in the 1960s. That would be my guess. Could be the 70s, but it's got all of the characteristics of a Penn reel. All right, let's see if we can get the handle off. If you are rocking and you can't get that handle off, back the star adjuster off. That will push the handle up. You don't need to kind of rustle it. It'll just pop it off eventually. Again, I'm not going to take the time in this video to go and do anything that has to do with spending a lot of time cleaning it up. We have an old washer here. I don't know if that belongs on this reel or not. We have a gear sleeve spacer like you would find on a Penn. And well, here's a flaw. We have a broken collar. Now that's not going to affect the performance of the reel either. But if you were to say, oh, this is going to be a collectible reel, there's a couple of things going wrong with it. This would be one of them. This is it's a steel screw that was put in and was rusting. And well, we'll just continue to do this. As I do this, I want to encourage you to subscribe to my channel if you like to learn about fishing reels, if you like to learn how to service fishing reels, if you want to know a little bit about the companies that made the fishing reels at any point in time, if you're curious about the mechanical design, and that's kind of what this one's going to be about. And well, we'll see. Bronson, I believe, eventually was acquired by Ocean City prior to Ocean City being sold to True Temper and that whole organization going out of business in the 1970s. So if you know Bronson, you'll see that there's all kinds of reels that Bronson made over time. It had a very diverse lineup of reels, and again, they were made in the USA. And I think about the time that all of the reel manufacturers started getting moved to Japan or Korea. That's probably what did these folks in. What did Ocean City in was Ocean City used to be a very high-priced, relatively speaking, brand. And of all things, Penn came in and was able to sell the same types of reels that Ocean City was manufacturing for less. And it kind of opened up fishing to the masses, if you will. And Ocean City had a big infrastructure depending on, well, the return that they got on high-priced reels. They just weren't able to keep pace, and eventually, financially, they came to their day of reckoning, where they weren't making enough to support all of that. And, well, True Temper bought them out for a while, and then they went out of business. Okay, we've removed all of these screws. Here's our first look inside at the reel. That's a very interesting design inside that reel. I don't think I've seen that before. We have a very dry but otherwise okay frame. A lot of dirt and debris. You would expect that, or I would expect it. This is just old grease that is kind of spun off the reel or what have you. And then we have a bridge here, which is pretty curious. I think this whole bridge is going to load online. Here's our free spool release. When you flip your trigger, it's got like a gold post that goes down, and it's got return springs that are going to pop up here. I think this is all integrated into the bridge. Well, this is a good place to tell you to take pictures if you start fooling around with a reel like this. Now, if this reel explodes and I can't figure out a way to get it back together and all that other sort of stuff, no big loss. But take the pictures, and you might be surprised what you're going to find. Look at this. I don't have all that tarnish. This comes right off this reel with a little bit of penetrating oil. You know, this reel probably could clean up very nice. Same thing on this side, I'm thinking, right? Yeah, look at it. The material's pretty good. Let's take these 4 screws off. Take a chance. So again, take a picture before you do anything. Take it with whatever image capture device you have. A camera, a cell phone, an iPad, whatever. Take a picture here. You're going to see this is the orientation for the pinion gear. Some posts up here, the way it interconnects with your eccentric back there, and the 4 post screws. Time to get a little risky here. The Sea Wolf, interesting. All right. When I take the screws off, I'm going to take them off and lay them on my desk to make sure that they're all the same size screw. That's 3. And here's 4. So I'm always interested in learning how reels are made, the various techniques and design points that they made. And it always fascinates me that there's that literally more than one way kind of thing to be good about making the reels and designs and the way spool yokes move in and out and so on. All right, I've cupped my hand. I wanted to catch the bridge as it came through. And one screw still in there, not a problem, it'll come out. And here's a look at the way this works. Now, first impression on this one. This, wow, what can I say? A couple of things going on here. First impression is, looks like a newel. It's not, it looks like a newel. It's got nice high quality materials in here. These appear to be stainless. It holds the yoke springs on with a clip or a screw. I'm not quite sure what that is. I'm not even going to try and play around with that to see. Your yoke moves in and out. This is your jack. Your main gear appears to be similar in nature to a pen gear. This is not similar in nature. And here's how it works. This is a place to take pictures if you were going to move any further. I just wanted to see how this one works, so we're not going very far. You have an anti-reverse spring that is got a 90-degree turn in it and goes in this little hole right here. Comes up and makes this kind of a paperclip bend around where that bridge screw is going to go. Wraps around the top of the stud here and has a 90-degree bend, which rests on the shoulder of that anti-reverse there. Fascinating. Wow. And it still works. How do you like that? So very much kind of the yoke springs tied kind of look like the newel. This almost looks like the way that the Penn Love-O-Matic reels worked. They had a integrated bridge that you kind of worked in over the eccentric on the back end. This is your eccentric in the case. And surprisingly, this reel is probably exactly what he said it was. Now, it doesn't always happen that way, but it probably went fishing. He probably got tired of fishing, put it in the shelf, and that's where it's at, right? Okay, let's just put it back together again. Again, there's little I wanted to do other than an investigation. Happy with that. And just bring this back in. And you can see it's going to mount over that little stud on the eccentric. Bring it around this side. The one screw was still stuck in there, so we're going to put that back in. And I could say with confidence that if you find a Bronson Sea Wolf, I don't know where you'd find one these days, thrift store, pawn shop, online, whatever, you can certainly take this one fishing and enjoy it. It's an older design, but that's okay. The drags, probably you can find a substitute drag washer somewhere. I imagine it'd be one of the Penn lines could probably make that work. And then again, I'm just kind of surprised how quickly this stuff cleans up with just a little bit of cleaner and a little bit of steel wool. All right, so that's why I bought the reel, was just to understand how it was made. I'm fascinated by it. The plating on the spool is completely worn off, but the spool is a nice heavy metal. I guess if I really wanted to, I don't know why, put a little bit of grease into the slot for the spool. This pull back in. I didn't grease anything in the other reel, so that doesn't matter too much, but if I wanted to just replicate that, go do that on this side. Bring this back together. Now this has got a rectangular shape to it. It's going to fit into the rectangular groove on the spool in order to drive that spool. Alright, I'm just going to put these back together again. While I do, I want to encourage you, if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments section. If you have any experience with this particular reel, let me know what it was all about. What did you think of the reel? How long did you have it? Where did you get it? Maybe something to the effect of the type of fish you caught with it. This is definitely a saltwater or a Great Lakes reel. It's designed for big fish. Maybe you were young when you got it, I assume. If you know anything more about the dating, again, I'm guessing 1960s. That's not an Ocean City design inside there, but one never knows, right? It all goes into what we call collective or institutional knowledge. Once you learn these things, well, next thing I know, generally I get a question from somebody, hey, I got a Bronson Sea Wolf, have you ever worked on one? Well, I'm not going to claim I worked too much on this one, but if they tell me, you know, it's not retracting or something, at least now in my mind, I know that the forks on the bridge are actually driving this thing. I'm not getting that screw started there. There we go. But yeah, if you want to pass those along in the comments section, I appreciate it. This is where I encourage you to go out into flea markets, garage sales, wherever you find used fishing equipment. I mentioned thrift shops and porn shops and the like. Wherever you find them, don't be afraid to go spend a couple of dollars on what I call tuition. It'll just it's a price you pay to learn something. Right now I'm learning I can't get this particular one in again. Oh, there we go. And sometimes it's certainly always worth the money. The question is how much of the money is it worth? But I think in this case I've learned a lot. And I hope you have too. I hope you're enjoying that. All right, let's put this back together again. Maybe we'll give this one away. I don't know. I'll have to see. Vintage reels are always fun because it was the heyday of innovation. That doesn't mean that innovation isn't going on today. There's a lot of interesting innovation going on. A lot of the things we're seeing, they're repetition on a theme. Bigger gear, smaller gear, but the gears are still the same. Big gear always drives smaller gear that turns the spool, or the rotor to retrieve the reel, those kinds of things. But we're seeing evolutions, I guess, not revolutions, evolutions in the way that materials are utilized. Reels are getting lighter. That's with the advent of braid. I'm going to spray this rusted screw down here with some penetrating oil. I'm trying to keep it a little bit fresh. I guess I could search to find a replacement screw, but this is part of the story of what this reel is or was. Again, I could certainly find a washer if that's not original. I'll put this one back on as well. And again, we didn't service this reel. We wanted to just have it be a service to us in making us understand more about the reel itself. This looks every bit the pen handle, but it doesn't have a pen stamping on the back in terms of the part number. Almost all pen reels would have 26-something here. That would be on the bar, and I'm not seeing that. But it sure looks like that. Otherwise, the bridge is not a pen bridge at all, that's for sure. All right, let's put this back together. I guess one of the things, there might be a pen handle, but there is no tie-down screw on this. Normally your pen nut would hold the cap nut in position so that it doesn't fall. We'll just tighten this down. Just want to make sure it works again. I'm sure it does. But again, I'm surprised with the smoothness of the reel. If you did happen to buy one of these all the way back in the day, I'd be curious what you paid for it and how that sized up against the competition. But again, this is just a nice, it's got a little ting-ting to it that can usually be adjusted out. This is a nice turning reel. Put it in the gear. Look at that. Impressive. Turns free and easy. I hope you've enjoyed that. I've enjoyed working on it and seeing what makes that reel tick. I hope you did too. Before I leave, I want to thank our first responders, our police, fire, safety, rescue, and everybody who's involved in making sure that we stay out of harm's way. And I want to thank everybody who makes this channel what it is. It continues to help me learn and to pass along what I know to you. This is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle, wishing everybody a great day.